I tend to get really, really upset behind these stories, heartbroken even, because I remember when my daughter was this age, and it was just such a precious time. A lot of memories, took a lot of pictures, and I just could not imagine if my daughter's mom was dating somebody that was not a reputable character and ended up hurting my baby. Because I promise you guys, I don't know what I would do. I want you guys to take a look at this baby's face. This baby was a big, big subject of a missing child story. They did find this child and it did not turn out good. But before I give you guys the details, let me give you a disclaimer about my content, because I want to keep my monetization. Some viewers may find the following content offensive and controversial. The information in this video comes from multiple sources, including court records, official police charges, news web articles, and interviews. This video commentary also contains my personal opinions about the facts of this story. The point is to use this story as a cautionary tale in hopes of preventing tragedies like these to children going forward. Viewer discretion is advised. That is your official disclaimer. Oh, that fateful thug lion. And that's the biological father, man. And I feel so bad for him, because as the biological father, he's just at the mercy of whatever the mom decides to do. Now, I know people are probably going to say, oh, well, you're bashing the mom. Well, let me tell you the story about what this man did. I'm getting this story from lawandcrime.com. Law and Crime, thank y'all so much for what y'all do. They do an amazing job with these articles. This man, quote, "I'll probably do the rest of my life in prison." This is what he said. An accused child killer tells a police officer in Michigan while he was handcuffed and curbed. The officer briefly raises his hand into the air and replies, "I can't say so." But the accused man is adamant, "I can tell you now." Let's keep going. Rashad Malik, Maleek, Trice, Trice. That fool with the tattoos on his neck, so you'll know which one is which. I don't know what it is about y'all loving these thug lions. All I'm going to do is keep presenting these stories and presenting these stories and presenting these stories until women decide to wake up. Continue to keep presenting these stories. It looks like he's trying to be a model boyfriend, a model father figure, taking a picture. It looks cute until some shit goes wrong. He is not a law-abiding citizen, and wait till I tell y'all about his criminal history. Would y'all like to hear about this man's criminal history? Because it's pretty long. It's longer than the Nile River. He's 26 years old, and he was arrested on July the 3rd, right, the day before 4th of July, after a high-speed chase ended in seemingly intentional and police-engineered crash on a 4-lane highway in the city of St. Clair Shores, which is just northeast of Detroit and some 90 miles east of Lansing. Body-worn camera footage obtained by Detroit-based NBC affiliate WDIV. According to the state and federal authorities, Trice kidnapped 2-year-old Wynter Cole Smith, this baby, who they were looking for, who the FBI was looking for. This angel. After stabbing and sexually assaulting the girl's mother, who is his ex-girlfriend, in Lansing the night of July the 2nd. Sometime after that, law enforcement alleges the defendant murdered the toddler and dumped her tiny body in an alleyway near Coleman A. Young International Airport in Detroit. So basically what happened was he ended up assaulting the mom and then grabbed the daughter and ran off with her daughter. In the footage, where white smoke can be seen billowing out the white Chevrolet Impala that the defendant had allegedly stolen the day before, as officers hectically swarmed the crunch vehicle, guns drawn, shouting, most of their combined cruiser sirens still blaring, Trice shouts something before being dragged out and pushed to the ground. For a few moments, he appeared to lay prone, his arms tucked underneath his chest or midsection, as police tried to jostle him and grab his hands so they could put him in handcuffs. Tasers are drawn and pressed to his skin, the footage shows, and apparently used several times. "Hands out," one officer shouts. Grabs his hands, or grab his hands, another officer advises. He's got something in his hands, another officer claims, prompting Trice to throw out his left hand and cry out, "No, I don't." The defendant is eventually restrained and brought upright, the footage shows. He complains of injuries sustained in the crash and an ensuing scuffle. An officer acknowledges the lacerations and that Trice is bleeding and calls EMS to check this suspect out. "Y'all tased me about 5 times," he said. "Yeah, well, you were fighting," the officer wearing the body camera says as he's trying to walk towards the defendant, and at this point, effectively nude because his pants fell at some point over to the curb. After a while, Trice is taken to the curb, had his pants pulled up by the same officer who had been speaking with him, and is forced to sit. For several minutes in the video, and I guess I could let y'all watch some of that, the officer and others survey still chaotic scene with 2 damaged vehicles, assesses another officer's own potential injuries, and consult with dispatch and about how Trice is the man wanted by police in Lansing for abducting Wynter Cole Smith. "Let them know we have the vehicle, we have the suspect in custody, and no child." So they didn't have the child at this point. As Trice comes back into view, an officer accuses him of swerving at another officer and trying to hit him with the Impala allegedly stolen from the deceased girl's grandmother the night before. "You were going to kill me anyway," the defendant says. "Whatever," an officer replies. The girl's body was found on July the 5th, the day after 4th of July. Law enforcement says that they used his cell phone data to track his route and ultimately made the sad find just before 7 p.m. last Wednesday. Wynter Cole Smith's cause of death appeared to be strangulation with a pink cell phone charging cord that was recovered with the body, according to police. And I'm going to take a time out right there and ask, regardless of whatever you was going through with this mom, what did this little girl do to deserve that? You couldn't have just left her alone? Why would you inflict damage on this baby? For what? To a certain extent, I can understand if you take out your aggression on the mother, who was the source of your anger. Children are innocent. And I think we have to make a separation between what adults do and what adults do to children. I'm not saying at all that the mother deserved what she got. I'm not saying at all that it's okay what he did to the mom. I'm saying that's wrong. All of it's wrong altogether. But then again, it's funny how thugs always getting some pussy out here in these streets. They're always in relationships. They're always around your children. Everybody catch that? You put children in dangerous, precarious situations, and then you have these outcomes, and then you're like, woe is me. I'm the victim. No, you're not the victim. The mother is not the victim. This baby suffered at the hands of her mother's bad dating choices. And that man that did this to this child, I don't know how many cuss words I can say. I'm trying to watch my mouth. This man deserves the death penalty if they have it in this case. No excuse for that. He strangled her apparently with a pink cell phone charging cord that was found with this girl's body. The pink cell phone charging cord was consistent with the pink cord parts recovered from the Chevy Impala. Late last week, Trice was charged by a complaint in federal court on one charge each of kidnapping a minor and kidnapping resulting in death. If convicted of the latter charge, he could be sentenced to the federal death penalty. And that's what he deserves. We'll talk about his record here in just a second because this record is long as hell. And in that case, he will be the first Michigan prisoner executed since 1938. That's how bad this is. Earlier last week, Earlier, late last week, give me just a second here. Let me grab some. Hold on just a second. Earlier last week, Trice was arraigned in Ingham County on state charges of assault with intent to murder, 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct, home invasion, unlawful imprisonment, aggravated domestic violence, second offense, unlawful driving away of an automobile, and felonious assault. On Tuesday morning, federal magistrate judge Ray Kent agreed to impanel a grand jury on Trice's federal charges, according to the Detroit News. Court records show that he is being detained pending that decision. In the hospital, police allege Trice admitted to bits and pieces of the crime he is accused of committing, but stopped just short of confessing regarding the death of the young girl. Trice also admitted that he was aware of the Amber Alert they wrote. Trice stated words to the effect of, I am already a monster. Trice also stated that he wanted to kill himself. As a part of the ruse during the interview, the FBI agent informed Trice that video surveillance showed Trice and Wynter in the vehicle together. Trice stated that if law enforcement showed him the video surveillance footage, then Trice would be forced to admit his involvement. In the body camera footage, the defendant facilitates between another almost acknowledgement and somewhat hope of what lies in store. Do you think I'll be okay? He asked. I think you will be, the officer replies. You got a long road ahead of you. Keep in mind, he's not in his right mind. Are we going to consider this the fact that he has mental health issues? Are we going to give him an excuse for what he did to his ex-girlfriend and her daughter, and how he affected everybody's life, including the biological father and all of their family members? Are we going to give him that excuse about what he was going through? Matter of fact, let me show you guys something real quick. There's a small screenshot that I took of just how long his criminal history is. I want you guys to take a look at this. This is what the news was able to find. Documents on top of documents on top of documents. You guys see how much stuff this is. You can Google search this. So could the mother. And this was before she was in a relationship with him. When are we going to start to do background checks? I don't want to hear any excuses when stuff like this happens. Oh, I didn't know I was dating a thug and an abuser and a killer. But you won't do a background check, but you'll have this person around your kid. Let me give you guys the fair usage. That is unfair to the children. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. If you guys were doing a great job, please hit that thumbs up. For one person watching, we want to have one thumb up. So please hit that thumbs up so to share this video so more people can see it. And I do apologize about the audio. I know the audio isn't that loud, but I'll try to fix it on the replay, okay? So here we go. Here are the news videos. Give me a second here. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix it.
Hearts breaking across the states as we grieve the death of a baby girl nearly a week after little Wynter Cole Smith was kidnapped and murdered. We are learning more disturbing new details about the man suspected in her killing. 7 Action News has obtained a police report stating Rashad Trice also threatened to kill Wynter's father years ago. Good evening, I'm Simon Shaquette. The report details an incident from 2021. Wynter's mom reportedly called police saying Rashad Trice pushed her while she was holding her baby.
I want you guys to catch that. If you didn't hear it because of the audio issues, this man also is accused of trying to kill the biological father years before this. And the mother chose to stay with this man. chose to continue to be in and out of a relationship, back and forth. This childish thing that we do. We won't make up our mind, so we straddle the fence. Years before. So this could have been prevented by just being done and moving on. That is so sad.
The story spirals from there, and tonight 7 Action News reporter Sarah Michaels is joining us with new details we're learning from its report and its potential impact on Trice's current case.
In this police report foiled by 7 Action News, we're learning that Rashad Trice's alleged violence against 2-year-old Wynter Cole-Smith did not begin this past week. It allegedly began when Wynter was just 3 months old.
If you look at this Monroe case, it screams off the page that it's almost identical to the current case.
Longtime prosecutor and defense attorney Todd Flood tells me that because of the similarities between this 2021 report and Rashad Trice's current case, the prosecution will be able to cite this police report in court.
They'll bring that case in to show that this man acts with a common scheme and plan. And there's, no lack of mistake. He knew what he was doing.
According to this report, in May of 2021, Wynter Cole-Smith's mom, Samari Cole, had been dating Rashad Malik Trice for about a month when she called police for help. The report says the two were fighting about Wynter's father, and Trice was, quote, jealous for some reason and was upset with the father to the point where he threatened to kill him. It says that Cole was holding Wynter when Trice got in her face and started filming Cole. He threw Cole's phone across the room and pushed her when she tried to retrieve it, forcing her to fall into a lamp.
Because you saw that grin on his face in his mugshot. He wasn't scared.
Wynter's grandmother, Sharon Eddings, noted in her interviews with 7 Action News that Trice's violence was a pattern. Trice is currently being charged with kidnapping, and kidnapping resulting in death for Wynter Cole-Smith's disappearance. This 2021 report shows that during this incident, Trice ran from police, and Cole told police she was afraid Trice was going to come back for her, and that she was afraid Trice would go to Wynter's dad's house to create more problems. 2 years later, it seems Trice's violence has continued. Now Eddings and the family are asking for the maximum sentence.
It's different when it's a child. How can you attack a 2-year-old?
This hits all the criteria for a death penalty case.
Flood tells me that if there was a checklist for what a death penalty requires, Trice's case would hit every single check mark. It's worth noting that the last death penalty execution in Michigan was in 1938.
If you see like a little sparkle or something, or just something beautiful, just know that that's Wynter, because that's who she was.
Reporting for 7 Action News.
Back now to that devastating breaking news on Detroit's east side. Police found the body
that we wanted amid this very act.
Back now to that devastating breaking news on Detroit's east side. Police found the body.
This is Wynter's sandal, and this is her robe that I bought her when she was younger. So it just, I believe in energy and frequency, so it keeps me close to her.
Sharon Eddings is hoping that wherever her granddaughter is right now, she's with her in spirit as the search continues for 2-year-old Wynter Cole-Smith.
I feel like I'm there with her.
She's been on edge ever since finding out the 2-year-old was kidnapped in Lansing, allegedly at the hands of this man, her mother's ex-boyfriend, Rashad Malik Trice.
We would like to hear more from his parents. We don't know if they're up there. He's not talking to the FBI. He refused to talk.
Prior to Wynter's kidnapping, it's alleged that Rashad even stabbed Wynter's mother.
When he stabbed her, from what I understand from her sister, she was able to stab him back, right, wound him back, and that's when he grabbed Wynter and threatened to harm her, and that's when he left.
Police.
Not. All right, well, the man accused of kidnapping little Wynter refused to cooperate with police as they desperately searched for the toddler.
And it is not the first time he's been at odds with law enforcement. 7 investigator Heather Catallo joining us now with a look at Rashad Trice's criminal history.
I hope you guys can hear that a little bit better. I'm trying to skip to the videos that have a little bit better audio, so hopefully you guys can hear that. And do me a favor, hit that thumbs up. You guys are doing a great job.
Heather.
Well, Carolyn and Mike, when all of this happened earlier this week, Rashad Trice was already on probation for fleeing and obstructing police in 2021.
So if y'all caught that, I'm going to rewind it just a hair. They said he was already on probation. He was already on probation. I would love to see, because I know it's really the mothers that I'm trying to break through. They clearly don't get what I'm trying to say. They clearly don't care. They clearly have this same mentality that they care more about their man than they do their children. This woman had so many opportunities for this not to occur. So if he had a warrant or probation prior to this, then that means that this woman probably continued to deal with this man on and off, and he just kept acting a fool, and then she was like, okay, now I'm done. Now I'm done this time. But you keep going back. Like, that sounds like desperation, self-esteem. But here's my whole point about this. I think that when you have young, small children that can't speak for themselves and cannot defend themselves, then I think that maybe you should not be dating, and that goes to all custodial parents. Take dating off the table. And you say to yourself, well, damn, so I can't be happy? No, you can't. Not at the expense of your children. Not at the expense that you like dating dangerous people, and then you're going to end up having those people around your children to have any level of access. Then no, I'm completely against that. Stop dating if you got kids. Your children should come first. It takes a lot of time and energy and money to raise them. And I think that the last thing that we should be worried about is more sexual pleasure, which could end up leading to more children. Could end up leading to more access to the children you already have. So I hope everybody understands what I'm saying. I think what I'm saying is very clear. I think it's fair. Because the way that we're dating and the way that we're pair bonding is messed up. I want y'all to catch what they said one more time. He was already on probation.
He's been at odds with law enforcement. 7 investigator Heather Catallo joining us now with a look at Rashad Trice's criminal history. Heather.
Well, Carolyn and Mike, when all of this happened earlier this week, Rashad Trice was already on probation for fleeing and obstructing police in 2021. In fact, records show he's obstructed and fought police at least 5 times in the last 2 years.
The man who sparked a massive police search for 2-year-old Wynter Smith is no stranger to law enforcement. Police and FBI agents say Rashad Malik Trice assaulted Wynter's mother in Lansing on Sunday, then fled with Wynter. The child was found dead in Detroit last night. Court records uncovered by the 7 investigators show Trice had been in and out of jail several times since 2021. The 26-year-old has a lengthy criminal record that includes multiple charges of fleeing and obstructing police and assault.
We want them charged heavily, but we want those charges to stick this time.
Sharon Eddings is Wynter's grandmother. In the midst of her family's heartbreak, she's calling on judges and even the highest leaders in our state to do more to keep violent offenders locked up.
We all feel and agree he should have never been out on the streets, and this would have never happened. So we are calling on the governor to help us and pass some law.
Court records from Monroe in May of 2021 show Trice was sentenced to 224 days after facing charges for resisting police and domestic violence. The victim listed in that case is the mother of Wynter. Just days after he was arrested in Monroe, Michigan State Police arrested Trice near Lansing once again for obstructing police. He pleaded guilty in both cases. Then, 3 months later, records show state police from the Brighton Post arrested Trice again for similar charges.
And I want you guys to remember, when I call this man a thug lion and the mom taking her child to the thug zoo, leaving her child nearby the thug lion cage, and then the lion behaves like a lion and murders and mauls the baby, I'm not referring to his skin color. I'm talking about his action, because thug is an action, not a skin color. Please remember that, okay? So when I call him a thug, he is the epitome of a thug. He's going to be the first man on death row since 1938. And I'm pretty sure that in this city, in this county, in this state, that they've had pretty bad crimes, pretty bad murders, pretty bad things that have happened. And he's going to be the first. And how many years is that? That's a lot of years. Almost just under 100 years.
He was sentenced to a year in jail and probation, and that's the case the Michigan Department of Corrections was currently supervising him for as part of his probation. MDOC officials tell us Trice had checked in as required in June and was not due for another meeting with his probation officer until mid-July. Now that Trice is facing several kidnapping and assault charges with even more expected, Wynter's grandmother wants the courts to show no mercy.
If you don't appreciate your second chance, I don't. And you shouldn't, to me, you shouldn't get any more. Because we see that when you give these people second chances, they are going back for more. So something needs to be done so they understand that you're not going to keep doing this.
Macomb County issued additional charges just a short time ago, including fleeing and eluding police and attempting to disarm an officer.
Everybody was hoping for this kind of an outcome, but about 24 hours ago, this is where the discovery was made of Wynter's body in this alley here. But as you can see, there is a memorial, and I'll tell you, when I was here this morning, there was nothing. And now you can see even the Detroit Police Department, they showed up and put a balloon and a stuffed bear on that memorial. And there's going to be a vigil later on. I'm going to get into that in a minute. But it was a very sad day. It was a day for mourning. People finding out that little Wynter Smith, just 2 years old, was found dead, not the result that anybody wanted. And yes, I did have a chance to talk to the family. It's heartbreaking, but take a look.
Why me? Like, why?
A.J. Smith, the father of 2-year-old Wynter Cole Smith.
I'm angry that she's gone. I'm angry she had to deal with that. I'm sad I didn't get to see her. I'm sad I don't get to be with her. I'm sad I wasn't here for her.
So many emotions for this 24-year-old senior at the University of Tennessee Martin, a receiver for the football team and trying to further himself to have made a better life for himself and Wynter.
My son, he worked so hard to go to college to play football so he could live a dream for him and Wynter.
I used to keep some stuff and then tell her mom like I lost it, like I forgot to pack it. And I'm glad I did, so I can hold on to it.
The little memories are so big now that 2-year-old Wynter was found by FBI agents Wednesday night in the alley on Detroit's east side after a 3-day search that spanned over 90 miles from Lansing to St. Clair Shores. You've got flyers, bring Wynter home. When you look at him now, what goes through your mind?
It hurts.
How could somebody harm a little child? Like, how could you see yourself like on top of a child or hurting a child or whatever he did to her? We don't know, but he killed her and we don't know how he did it. But how can you like just fight a kid? You know what I'm saying?
A lot of this just doesn't feel real. Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Obviously, the father, A.J., very broken up, just talking, and he's got a lot to think about. But people want to know what happened to Wynter. We may never know that. Now, there is a suspect in custody. This is the same suspect that was arraigned yesterday for allegedly stabbing and sexually assaulting the mother. Although we talked to the prosecutor's office today, no new charges relating to the kidnapping and ultimate murder. That could come later on. We are here tonight because there's going to be a vigil right pretty much where I'm standing. You can already see residents here and people from across the area coming here to pay their respects to a little 2-year-old named Wynter, who inspires people just to be good and just think about what happened. And again, we may never know the true story, but it's very sad. I have to say, Roop covered a lot of stories here, and it's very emotional. But this one is going to continue for a while. I'm live here on Detroit's East Side. Roop, I'll send it back to you.
Yeah, it just haunts you to see that little girl's cute, innocent face, those eyes, and you just can't imagine, as we've been talking about, how someone could do this. But the family's going through unimaginable pain. We know.
Let me stop it right there. And let me say this, because I know a lot of people a handful of people at this point, because I think most of everybody who's in the chat right now, and thank you for those who are here, and just kind of hear my thoughts about this, because I'm really trying to disseminate the thought process that we need to put our children as the priority. And I know people feel like the mother could be viewed as a victim, and I just don't see it that way, because all of her choices ended up leading to this. The person that she chose to date was her choice. The person that she chose to have sex with was her choice. The person that she continued after you could have did a background check to find out this man's history, the things that he was doing to you, the fact that he was on probation, the fact that you ignored it, the fact that you continued to keep leaving that proverbial door open, inevitably led to a bad result. And I cannot act like it's not, like that she didn't play a part in this. Now, I'm not saying that she should be arrested or charged, but at the same time, there's too many people that are quick to defend a mother in a situation like this. And I don't care if it's a mother, if it's a woman, if it's a man, a custodial parent, whomever it is. You cannot allow for these children to be placed in dangerous situations. We got to continue to put our children first. But the fact that this man is probably going to get the death penalty, I don't feel sorry for him. And I think that's exactly what needs to happen to him. And we got to end this culture of making excuses. When deaths like this happen to children, when abuse happens, we have to excoriate people like this. You got to call it out. If you see something, say something. You guys are noticing that there are more people that are using the AFC hashtags. And I can appreciate that. Always make sure to give us a shout out, because we want to bring more people here to continue to spread awareness and love for children and put children first. To young Wynter Cole Smith, let me see if I can get her picture as a solo by herself. She's a beautiful little girl. And keep the biological father in your prayers also. So when my daughter was growing up, I don't know about a lot of you guys, I spent a ton of time with my daughter, especially at this age. You know, she lived with me. I told somebody this story the other day, that my daughter used to live with me 4 days a week. And she would live with her mom 3 days a week. So that way her mom could work during the weekday. I would work during the weekend. And then she didn't have to go to daycare until much, much later. But we worked together. My daughter's almost grown now. And I just think that we both did a pretty good job. We could always do better. Just because I'm always trying to raise that bar when it comes to us being parents. But I definitely remember so many days in this next picture here where my daughter be just sitting there playing with her toys. Young Wynter, young princess. R.I.P. And I think that we should all be concerned. And I got to tell you, I was watching a story earlier, a news clip, and the people got out there. And matter of fact, I think it was actually this one. I skipped it actually. But they got out there and they said that Wynter is our baby. It's all of our responsibility. And it brought so many emotions in me so quickly. I kind of cried about it. I'm not going to even lie about that, because I'm like, thank you. These people in their community understand. They get it. Because this has to matter to everybody. And we have to continue to keep spreading that message of love and respect for children, okay? Let me know what you guys think about this story. Again, RIP to that princess. Thank you.